Imagine this for a moment. You're sitting there, wondering if he's thinking about you, if he misses you, if you even cross his mind the way he crosses yours. And while you may not get that bold text message that says, I miss you, in capital letters, there's another way he tells you, quietly, subtly, but consistently. One of the biggest signs a man misses you isn't in what he says, it's in the way he stays present, even without words. Think about how easy it is to drift away from people in today's world. We're busy. Life is full. If someone doesn't want to stay connected, they won't. And yet when he misses you, he finds small, almost invisible ways of being around. He might not call you up late at night and pour his heart out. That's not always how men operate. Instead, he's watching your stories, he's liking your posts. He's there in the background, showing up digitally because that's the safest way for him to bridge the gap without putting himself on the line too much. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But liking a photo doesn't mean anything. People do that mindlessly. And you're right, sometimes it's just habit. But when you start to notice a pattern, when he never misses your updates, when he's one of the first to view, when he finds ways to subtly engage, it's not random, it's presence. It's him saying, I still want to be a part of your world, even if I don't know how to say it out loud. And this isn't just about social media, it's in real life too. Maybe he shows up at places he knows you might be. Maybe he finds excuses to linger in your orbit. You'll see it in the way he stays in touch with mutual friends just to feel close to your world. He's not necessarily going to tell them he misses you, but staying close to your circle is his way of not letting go of that thread that ties you together. Here's the thing about men, many of them struggle to express vulnerability directly. Saying, I miss you, feels too raw, too exposing, too risky. So instead, they rely on proximity, they rely on consistency. If you look closely, you'll see that his presence isn't just random. It's intentional. It's his way of keeping himself connected to you, even in silence. Let me give you an example. You've probably had times where someone has gone quiet on you, right? And in that silence, you notice the absence. That's what most people do when they don't care. They disappear. Now compare that to the man who doesn't disappear. He might not say much, but he's still there. He's quietly orbiting your life, reminding you without words, you matter. I can't let go. And that's powerful because consistency is never accidental. Nobody consistently engages with someone they don't care about. He could be giving that energy to anyone else, but it's you. His presence is proof. Of course, the danger here is misinterpreting crumbs of attention as full meals of intention. Just because he's around doesn't always mean he's ready to step up. And that's where your discernment comes in. But the point is, when a man misses you, his presence, even the quiet, subtle kind, is one of the clearest signals you'll get. So when you catch yourself thinking, why doesn't he just say it? Remind yourself that sometimes his silence isn't emptiness. Sometimes it's loaded. Sometimes silence is just another language. And in that language, the way he stays present, whether through a like, a view, or finding his way into your day, is his way of saying, without words, what he can't quite bring himself to admit. And in that consistency, you'll see it, he misses you. When a man misses you, he often won't come out and declare it in some grand speech. Instead, it leaks out in small, almost invisible acts of thoughtfulness. These aren't the kinds of gestures that scream for attention. They're quiet, subtle, but they carry weight because they show he's paying attention to you in ways that go beyond the surface. Think about this. When someone doesn't really care, the details of your life don't stick. They forget the things you tell them. They overlook the little preferences they're not tuned in. But when he misses you, suddenly those tiny details that most people would brush past become the anchors for his connection to you. He'll remember the coffee order you mentioned once in passing. He'll bring up that show you said you were obsessed with last month. He'll send you a song link that reminded him of you, even though you only mentioned that band one time years ago. These aren't accidents, they're signals. Because when you miss someone, your mind can't help but catalog the little pieces of them. You hold on to those fragments because they keep you close, even when you're apart. For him, remembering those details is a way of showing, "You're still running through my mind. I can't help but think of you, even when you're not here." Now, here's the beauty of it. These small gestures often don't look dramatic to anyone else. To the outside world, it might just seem like he sent a random meme, or he casually mentioned something you said. But you know better. You know when someone isn't normally that attentive, when they don't usually operate that way, and suddenly they're finding these ways to show up in your world. That's not random, that's intention. And the reason it feels so powerful is because it cuts through the noise. You see, anyone can say nice things. Anyone can throw compliments at you. Words are cheap. But remembering something you said 3 weeks ago, or going out of his way to bring you something small that makes your life easier, that's rare. That's investment. That's attention. There's also a quiet vulnerability in it. When he does something thoughtful, he's risking more than it seems, because he's exposing the fact that he's been thinking about you. He's revealing that you take up space in his mind, that he's been carrying you with him even in his day-to-day. For a lot of men, that's scarier than saying, I like you. Because to be thoughtful is to admit, I care enough to remember. I care enough to act on it. Sometimes it's as simple as him checking in on something small you told him. Hey, how did that meeting go? Did you ever finish that book? He's not just filling silence. He's showing you, I heard you. I kept it. I valued it enough to circle back. That's not someone who's detached. That's someone who's quietly tethered to you. And here's what's fascinating. You can feel the difference between thoughtfulness and obligation. Obligation feels heavy. It feels like someone's doing something because they feel they should. Thoughtfulness feels light, effortless, almost sneaky in the way it slips into your life. It leaves you smiling, thinking, wow, he didn't have to do that, but he did. That's how you know it's real. Because when a man misses you, he doesn't express it in abstract poetry or grand declarations. He shows it in the smallest of ways. The things that, if you weren't paying attention, you might even miss. But when you do notice, you realize those little things are actually big things. That they're the proof that he's carrying you with him, that even in silence, you're still at the forefront of his thoughts. So if you ever catch yourself wondering whether he's missing you, don't just listen for the words. Watch for the details. Because it's in the smallest acts of thoughtfulness that his heart is speaking the loudest. One of the most revealing ways a man shows he misses you isn't through grand romantic gestures or elaborate speeches. It's through the subtle, protective things he does without drawing attention to them. When he misses you, there's this instinct that kicks in. He wants to make sure you're okay. He wants to know that you're safe, that you're looked after, that someone's got your back. And even if he's not the one saying, I miss you, those quiet protective gestures are often his way of saying it without words. Think about the way he checks in. It might not sound like much, just a simple did you get home safe? Or, Text me when you arrive. On the surface, it's casual, but underneath it, it's him saying, I can't relax until I know you're okay, because you matter to me, because I've been thinking about you. That kind of concern doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from someone who feels connected to you even in your absence. Sometimes it's not even in the words, it's in the way he quietly positions himself to look out for you. Maybe you're walking together, and he naturally moves to the side of the street closest to the traffic. Maybe you're out in a group, and without making a big show of it, he notices when you look a little uncomfortable and finds a way to ease the tension. He might not call it out. He might not even realize he's doing it. But it's instinctual. It's his way of saying, I've got you, even in the smallest of ways. Now, here's what's interesting. When a man misses you, that protective instinct doesn't just vanish when you're not around. It shows up in how he reaches out. He might send a message out of nowhere just to ask, how's your day going? It doesn't seem dramatic, but what he's really doing is making sure you're okay, reminding himself that you're still within reach, still safe, still good. It's his way of soothing that restlessness that comes with missing someone. And you can feel the difference between someone who checks in out of politeness and someone who checks in because they care. Politeness feels flat. It's a question that doesn't really need an answer. But when he asks, and when he follows up, when he remembers what you said the last time and circles back to it, that's not routine. That's attention. That's his care showing itself in silence. Protective gestures also show up in the way he helps without being asked. Maybe he notices you're struggling with something and quietly steps in. Maybe he offers to carry something, or he fixes something for you without turning it into a performance. These aren't just random acts of kindness. They're rooted in that feeling of missing you, of wanting to be useful, of wanting to be present in your life even in the small, practical ways. Because for many men, love and longing aren't always spoken, they're expressed through action. And let's be real, sometimes the gestures are so subtle you might overlook them. You might think, oh, that's just him being nice. But pay attention. Not everyone goes out of their way to make sure you're good. Not everyone thinks about your safety when you're not around. Not everyone is invested in the little things that make your life easier. Those small protective instincts, those are the cracks where you see what's really going on underneath. Here's why this matters. When he misses you, he might not be ready to come out and admit it. He might hold back from the words because they feel too vulnerable, too exposing. But his actions will give him away. Because you can't fake care. You can't fake the instinct to protect. You can't fake the consistency of showing up for someone in the quiet, unseen ways. So if you've ever found yourself doubting whether he misses you, look past the absence of the words. Look at the way he makes sure you're okay, the way he shows up even when he doesn't have to, the way he quietly places your well, being above his own comfort. That's not just kindness. That's not just habit. That's the silent language of someone who can't help but miss you. And in those protective gestures, that's where you see it most clearly. He misses you. When a man misses you, one of the most powerful ways you'll notice it isn't in what he says, but in the shift of his energy when he's around you. People can try to control their words. They can censor what they reveal, but energy is hard to disguise. It leaks out in body language, in tone, in the subtle way their focus lands on you. And when he misses you, the whole atmosphere changes the moment you're near. You've probably felt this before without even being able to explain it. You walk into a room, and suddenly he straightens up like his body recognizes you before his mind has caught up. Or you catch his eyes lingering a second too long, as if he's trying to take in the sight of you after missing it for so long. He may not walk over right away. He may not say the words, but the energy shift is undeniable. It's in the way his attention sharpens, the way the conversation tilts toward you even when he's talking to someone else. Sometimes it shows up in the nervousness. He might fidget, laugh a little too quickly, stumble over his words when normally he's composed. That's not clumsiness. It's the tension of missing someone and suddenly being in front of them again. It's his body betraying the feelings he's been carrying silently. Other times, it's the opposite. He might go quiet, more reserved, as though the weight of everything he hasn't said is sitting on him. That silence can feel heavy, but it's not emptiness. It's full. It's him holding back all the words he doesn't know how to let out. And you can feel it in the pauses, in the way his eyes lock onto you and then dart away, as though he's trying not to reveal too much. Even in group settings, when he's supposed to be blending in, the energy gives him away. Notice how he gravitates toward you, how he positions himself so he can see you, how he laughs louder at your jokes than at anyone else's. These are not conscious strategies. This is instinct. When someone misses you, they can't help but orient themselves around you, even if they never admit it out loud. And here's the thing, energy is one of the most honest forms of communication we have. Words can be rehearsed, actions can sometimes be calculated, but the way someone's body reacts in your presence, that's raw, it's unfiltered. And when he misses you, his energy will give him away long before his words do. You'll notice it too in the way he listens. When a man doesn't miss you, he's distracted. His attention is scattered. But when he does, suddenly you're the center of gravity. He hangs on your words, remembers them, reacts differently. There's a depth of focus that tells you, this isn't casual, you matter here. And even if he's trying to play it cool, the truth is in the way he leans in, the way his eyes soften, the way the rest of the room seems to fade for him. This shift of energy isn't always easy for him. Missing someone is vulnerable, and vulnerability is something many men are taught to hide. So instead of saying, I've been thinking about you, he's trying to mask it to act normal. But the body doesn't always cooperate. His voice gives him away, his gestures give him away, his presence gives him away. And if you're paying attention, you'll feel it before you can even explain it. Sometimes people ask, but what if I'm imagining it? What if I'm reading too much into things? The truth is, we're remarkably good at sensing energy. If you've ever walked into a room where two people have just argued, you can feel it without them saying a word. The same is true here. If he misses you, that longing, that restlessness, that relief of finally being near you again, it shifts the atmosphere. And you don't have to rationalize it. You just feel it. So if you ever want to know whether he misses you, don't just listen to what he says. Watch his energy. Watch the way his body reacts, the way his focus sharpens, the way his silence feels loaded instead of empty. Because in those shifts, in those unguarded moments, you'll see it clearly. He misses you. When a man misses you, one of the clearest signs isn't in anything he says, but in how he gives you his time. Time, after all, is the one thing we can't get back. And when he's missing you, you'll notice that he starts to spend his in ways that draw him closer to you. Even if he doesn't come right out and admit it, his actions will reveal it, because the way he uses his time becomes his silent love language. Think about how people behave when they don't miss you. They're always busy. They're hard to reach. They can't seem to find even a few minutes to be present with you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means their priorities are elsewhere. But when he misses you, suddenly time bends a little differently. Suddenly, he finds reasons to be where you are, reasons to linger, reasons to stretch moments out so that they last just a bit longer than they need to. It might show up in the way he extends conversations. You'll notice that he doesn't rush off the phone the way he normally might. He keeps asking one more question, bringing up one more topic, even when you've already said your goodbyes 3 times. That's not just small talk. That's him prolonging his connection with you, because being in your presence, even digitally, fills that space he's been feeling in your absence. Or maybe it shows up in how he physically spends his time. He volunteers to run errands with you, even the boring ones. He suddenly has an excuse to stop by where you are, or to suggest hanging out, even if it's something casual like grabbing a coffee or watching a show. On the surface, it looks ordinary, but the truth is he could be doing anything else with his day. Out of all the options, he chooses to carve out time with you. That choice speaks volumes. And sometimes, it's not even about grand blocks of time. It's about the little fragments. He might send you a message in the middle of his workday, knowing he doesn't have long, but still choosing to use a few of those precious minutes to connect with you. That's not random. That's him prioritizing you in the cracks of his schedule, saying silently, yes. Even when I'm busy, you're still on my mind. Yes. What's so powerful about this is that time is the ultimate measure of value. Anyone can say, I miss you. Anyone can send a text. But showing up repeatedly, making space in a busy life, creating moments that don't need to exist just to share them with you, that's something you can't fake. Because when someone doesn't miss you, you'll feel the opposite. You'll feel the excuses, the cancellations, the busyness. When they do miss you, you'll feel their presence. Sometimes subtle but consistent. In the time they keep giving you. And here's something important. When a man misses you, time isn't just about quantity, it's about quality. You'll notice he's more intentional when he's with you. He's more present. He's not checking his phone every 5 seconds or distracted by everything around him. Instead, there's a focus, an attentiveness, as if he's aware of how valuable this time with you is and doesn't want to waste it. That presence is his way of saying, if this matters, you matter. You may even notice that he struggles to leave. The conversation winds down. The night comes to an end, but he lingers. He walks you to your car and stands there for a moment longer than necessary. He finds one more thing to say, one more reason to stay. Those delays aren't accidents. They're his way of stretching the thread between you, holding on just a little longer, because letting go feels too abrupt after missing you for so long. And sometimes, the most telling part is what he doesn't do. He doesn't treat your time as disposable. He doesn't push you to the side until it's convenient. Instead, he makes adjustments. He rearranges things. He finds a way. That effort, that consistent choice to prioritize moments with you over the 1,000 other things he could be doing is his silent confession. So if you're ever wondering whether he misses you, don't just wait for the words. Look at the way he spends his time, because when a man misses you, time stops being a routine. It becomes deliberate, it becomes a gesture, it becomes a way of saying without saying, he misses you. Sometimes the strongest proof that a man misses you is not in the things he does loudly, but in the moments when he lets his guard down in the quiet. Missing someone has a way of softening even the most guarded people. And while he might not have the courage to say, I miss you, directly, it leaks out in those subtle, vulnerable pauses, The spaces between the words, the eye contact that lingers, the silence that feels charged instead of empty. When he misses you, there's a certain tenderness in the way he looks at you. It's not the look of someone passing time. It's the look of someone who has carried you in his thoughts and finally has you in front of him again. He doesn't always realize it, but his eyes betray him. They soften. They stay with you a moment longer than he intended. That gaze, that quiet presence, it tells you far more than words ever could. You'll also notice it in the way he shares with you. When a man is casual about someone, he keeps things light, surface level. But when he misses you, the walls drop, even just a little. Suddenly, he's opening up about things he normally keeps to himself. He tells you about the tough day he had, or admits something that's been weighing on him. And he may not frame it as vulnerability. He may just slip it into conversation casually. But what's really happening is that his longing for you has pulled him closer to the point where he feels safer letting you see the cracks. There's also a softness in the silence you share. Not the awkward kind, but the comfortable kind. The kind where you don't need to fill every second with chatter because the connection is alive even in the quiet. That silence carries weight. It's full of unspoken things. His missing you, his relief in being with you, his desire to hold on to that moment. And if you've ever been in one of those silences, you know how powerful it is, because it feels like everything is being said without either of you speaking. Sometimes it shows up in very small, almost hidden gestures. The way his hand lingers near yours just a second longer than necessary. The way he pauses before saying goodbye, as if letting you go feels heavier than he wants to admit. The way he sends you a late night message that doesn't say much, just "Hey, you awake?" Or "Just thinking about you." Those aren't just throwaway actions. They're his vulnerability slipping through in the quiet moments when he can't hold it back anymore. And the thing about men is, many of them struggle with being open about missing someone. For some, it feels too exposing, too risky. So instead, it comes out sideways, in glances, in pauses, in small admissions, in the silence that hangs a little longer than normal. If you're paying attention, those moments are worth more than 100 polished words, because they're real. They're unfiltered. They're him, letting you see what he usually tries to hide. You'll also find that when he misses you, he has a hard time masking the relief of just being near you again. It might show up as a deeper sigh, a shift in his posture, the way he seems calmer once he's around you. That's not performance. That's vulnerability. That's him silently telling you, I needed this. I needed you. Des. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to push for it. You don't have to demand he say the words. Because the vulnerability he shows in these quiet ways is often even more authentic than a declaration. Words can be rehearsed, but vulnerability slips out unplanned. It shows up in real time, in the little ways he can't quite keep the mask on. So if you've ever wondered whether he misses you, don't just look for grand gestures or big speeches. Pay attention to the quiet, the softness in his eyes, the pauses in his words, the way he shares pieces of himself he doesn't give to everyone. Because in those silent, vulnerable moments, that's when it's clearest. He misses you.